Greetings, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, a winning Wednesday. Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited to welcome you all to the very first edition of Rebound with Chris Cooper. I'm your host, Chris Cooper, and I am so utterly excited, jazzed, every word you can imagine, how I feel today about this incredible experience that we're going to have. So, really fast, once again, I'm Chris Cooper, president and founder of Execute Your Passion, number one best-selling author of 2 books, Achieve Your Dreams and Get Shit Done. And as a lifestyle and procrastination expert, I help folks all across the world, just like you, stop quitting, stop procrastinating, and start succeeding in business in every single area of life. And we are so elated, so excited once again to welcome you to Rebound with Chris Cooper. So, much like all of us, this last, I would say, 2 years has been quite an experience. And in saying that, what I'm really saying is that, that there's been ups and downs and all that kind of stuff. So as I was going through the pandemic, much like all of you, as business dried up, as life changed, as the stay-at-home orders came and the vaccine was coming, all of these things were happening. And one thing that I realized, which was super awesome, was I really believe that God laid a concept on my heart, and it is this concept right now, what we're doing, called this concept of rebounding. And through that process, there were a couple of things that showed up for me. One was the art of reflection, right? Reflecting on who I was, what I was about, what mattered most to me. The second thing that really hit me was this whole concept of refocusing my effort and my energy toward the things that really mattered. Then on top of that, you add another layer, and that layer was ultimately this idea of reinvention and having to reinvent ourselves because we were in a new normal. We are in a new normal, and things are not the way they used to be. And then the last part of that was reinvesting in myself, retooling my skills and really setting myself up. So when I bring all those things together, that process of reflecting, that process of refocusing, that process of understanding the importance of reinvention and reinvesting, and then repeating that process, it gives us this amazing concept that we have right now, which is called Rebound. And let me tell you about this show. So Rebound is a unique platform that will include interviews and experiences from amazing professionals and entrepreneurs just like you, right? These individuals who pivoted and won despite the pandemic. We're going to talk everything from fashion to fitness, entrepreneurs to entertainment, corporate boardrooms, all the way into the community. And these inspiring and informational stories, along with some entertainment, because I got to have you some fun, right? is really going to give you a different level of expectancy and power, so that way you can do some awesome and incredible things. And I wouldn't be myself, right? I wouldn't be Mr. Lifestyle and Procrastination Expert if I didn't provide you all with some tips to stop procrastinating and start winning in your career, your business, and all aspects of life. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to get out the way because, this is really not about me today. This is really about my first amazing guest. I am so excited. Once again, this is our inaugural episode, and I am so excited to welcome this gentleman. Now he's a good friend. I have his official bio. I'm going to read that in a second. But this is my brother from another mother. We go back a decade at least at this point. And we both work together as elite peak performance and business results coaches for the amazing Tony Robbins. And actually, when he came on board, I coached him. So it's funny. We have this whole a coach with a coach and all that kind of great stuff. But David has literally, just transformed the entire world. And I don't say that lightly. So as you'll see and as you'll hear, he's a number one best-selling author, trainer, and coach. He's trained over 2 million businesses, guys. You hear me? 2, not 1 million, over 2 million businesses and individuals from across the world through his live events, his online courses, and his coaching sessions. He's been an entrepreneur and an expert for over 2 decades, over 20 years, and coached over 5,000 professionals in one-on-one sessions. I know you're paying, my brother. Some of these clients include the greats like Google, LinkedIn, McDonald's, Harley Davidson, and Oakley. He lives in San Diego with his beautiful wife, Luna, who we love, and his amazing bambinos, as we call them, which are not so small anymore. But when David isn't working or with his family, you can definitely find him on a motorcycle or skiing down a mountain. So, guys, it gives me great pleasure, the honor to bring to Rebound with Chris Cooper, none other than Mr. David Brownlee.
Yeah, I like that intro, man. Can you just follow me around and do that every morning when I wake up?
Let me know. I got you, brother. I got you. Welcome, David. Welcome to Rebound with Chris Cooper. As I said, I am so excited. I mean, your background is absolutely phenomenal. You've helped so many individuals, and I really wanted to get our community to just hear more about you and what you do. Now, I know a lot of people know you as, you know, the customer service guy and all that kind of stuff. But not only that, but providing Rockstar customer service. So on today's show, I know we're going to talk about Rockstar Retention. Guys, we're going to dive into this whole, the pandemic and this Great Resignation and all that kind of stuff. But David, I'm going to just turn it over to you because I want you just to kind of share a little bit about your background and how you ended up kind of in this very unique niche space of customer service.
Yeah, man. Well, good to be here. And by the way, everybody watching in the community, let's give Chris a round of applause and some congratulations for kicking off his show. I mean, what an honor to be the first guest on the Rebound show.
I love it.
So, look, I mean, for me, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. And my very first job was working in a restaurant, Lupe's Mexican restaurant. I was a dishwasher. I got promoted to a busboy. Look, Marcy's in there. How you doing, Marcy? And I loved working with people, right? And I loved talking with people, and the service industry was so great. Many years later, I had my own restaurant, an entertainment company where we were doing live events for companies and different things. And the one thing that I realized whenever we were excelling and we were growing, it was because of our customers, right? And so many companies miss that point, right? They think like, oh, okay, sales and marketing is great, but look, if you're not retaining those customers who are coming back time after time, month after month, year after year, you're really losing out. There's something in customer service we call the CLV, the customer lifetime value, right? And so if somebody comes in and they spend $100, their lifetime value on average, it could even be more depending on your customer service, could be 10 times that. So that's $1,000, right? But sometimes businesses get so focused on that one transaction, they forget that, hey, if you treat this person right, they'll come back over and over and over again. And so I learned that in my business, and that inspired me to write the book, Rockstar Service, Rockstar Profits, right? Because if your customer service is not a behemoth revenue generator for your business right now, that's a problem. That's the low-hanging fruit. And so that's what I teach business owners how to do, is to grow their businesses through customer service. And when we talk about retention, what's kind of funny is the second thing I've learned over the years is if you really want to provide that excellent customer experience, you've got to have team members who are feeling good, who are buying into what your mission is, your values, and they're feeling good. They're treating each other like internal customers, right? And so my we're talking about pivoting. We'll get into that in a little bit. But a lot of what I teach companies now is how to improve their team culture, right? That company culture that we hear about, what does it mean, and what does it mean for somebody to want to be in that culture? And I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but that's kind of how my business has pivoted. So still working in customer service, but also working with teams and improving that culture as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, we got the audio thing going. Yeah, fantastic. So when you really think about as you just said, this whole concept of the lifetime, customer value and understanding that you have to put other people's needs before. One of my favorite, my first coaches, my actual first business coach, he taught me this. He said, Chris, if you want to be successful in business, you have to give people what they ask for, not what you think they need. And I think that, to your point, when you really look at this whole concept of customer service, it's such a big deal, especially now when we talk about this, and we're going to get into the resignation in a minute. But just overall, when you think of customer service and why it's critical for companies as well as entrepreneurs, can you break down like all of the different even types of customers? Because I think sometimes companies forget that their customers are their internal ones as well as their external ones. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, please, David?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that your coach was a very smart person, right? Because here's the deal. A few years ago, we did a family vacation, and my wife booked it. It was kind of a package deal, so it came with the flight, came with the hotel, the airport transfers, and it came with the rental car. And I'll never forget. We go to this rental car company that I hadn't heard of, but it was pretty sizable, right? It was a pretty big lobby. Walked in there, there's just a long winding line of people, right? Like at Disneyland or something, right? And we're standing in there waiting in line, and I'm kind of looking around my surroundings, and I see this sign that says miles and miles of smiles, right? That's their little play, and that's their motto or whatever. And I look down, and there's probably 10 agents that were helping book the rental cars for people, right? And I looked at every single one of those people. Not one of them was smiling. And there's a big, huge banner above them saying miles and miles of smiles, right? Smiles for who, right? So you talk about giving your customers what they want. A lot of companies miss the basics, like just smiling at your customers, in a retail situation, making eye contact. Giving a friendly comment or compliment. I call it SEC, smile, eye contact, and a comment or a compliment, because it only takes a sec to do, but that's just the basics, right? And now you're talking about, with different things with the pandemic, now you've got customers who are coming in already fired up about something, whether it's a mask or a political thing or a belief that they've got, and customers are more aggressive than they've ever been. So how do you deal with those customers? You hear every other week about somebody on a flight, abusing flight attendants and stuff, so it's a different world out there. So there are different types of customers. There's customers like you and I that just go in, we try to do business and we're friendly people. Right. And dealing with, that's like a gift sometimes. And then there's these people who are completely riled up, but you have to have a system in place of how to deal with all the different customers, right? With confidence, right? So you know what's coming and you know how you're going to react instead of trying to make it up on the spot.
Love it. Love it. And I know that you really hit on, mic's on. Okay. Making sure my mic's working. You hit on some things about even these corporate individuals, as you talked about, the car rental place, like the owners, the leaders of the organization, having to make sure that their customers are happy as well. Their internal customers, right? Their employees, because that is the, and I know you mentioned this a little bit before. I know we talked in some other comments about this whole customer experience, right? Because everything that we do, right, is to ultimately change the way we feel. Right. So everything we do is to change the way we feel. So we want to feel, like I said, welcome. You wanted the smiles, right? And you said wait, I want to make sure that we get that acronym. You said it only takes a sec. Say it one more time.
SEC. If you've got a pen and paper, write this down. SEC. Right? SEC. It only takes a sec to do, and it's smile, eye contact, and a comment or a compliment. Like, hey, I really like that shade of lipstick you're wearing. It could be anything. It could be anything, but just being friendly and greeting people with something positive, right? And if you think about it, think about the last transactions you've had. It's harder and harder just to find that. And this is the basic ground level.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Elizabeth, thank you for that. Yeah. I mean, Elizabeth knows, right? I mean, these are just the basics that so many companies are skipping over. And when you look at some of the larger companies, customer service is a line item. right?
Yeah.
It's an expense. Customer service is something that is costing money. How can we get some customer support out there as inexpensively as possible, and spend as little time as possible, right? If you've experienced this probably when you've called up somewhere, and you're trying to get something resolved, and they say,
Yep.
hey, go to our website, www.wedon'twanna-take-your-phone-call.com, right? And you can go through our fact section, and figure out your problem yourself, right? But what they don't realize is, hey, if you have I was talking to somebody, good friend of mine. He's a vice president of customer success for a Fortune 500 company. And he said, we don't often get to talk to our customers. We don't get to hear what it is that they want, what it is that they expect. They do surveys and different things like that, but really have that interaction. And customer service for him is a chance to actually get to have a touch point with that customer. Right. So that might be finding out more about what they like about the product or the service, right? Or what they don't like. What are the challenges? What do they wish that product would do that it doesn't do now, right? There's product research that can be driven from it, right? And this is such a valuable interaction. Companies are need to change the way that they're looking at their customer service and customer experience. Right. And my favorite saying is it needs to be a revenue generating behemoth, your customer service department, because they can even sell products, right? They can upsell products, get you into a newer version that's going to help you, of the product. But what you said about feeling is so great. My favorite quote is from Maya Angelou. And she says, people will forget what you said.
Mhm.
People will forget what you do, but they'll always remember how they made you feel.
Yeah.
Right. And
You,
that's what communication in general is about. How did I feel after that transaction? Or how did I feel after talking to this person? How did I feel after meeting this person? Right. Like, oh man, I want to, I want to be with this person again. I want to come back and have this experience again. Or, wow, that was horrible. I don't ever want to do that again.
right.
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 So
Right.
at the end of the day, it really does come down to exactly what you said. It comes down to feeling. How are you
Yeah.
making people feel?
It is, and as you know, when people really get in their feelings, they express themselves. And sadly, as we know, let's be honest, we probably all have been guilty. We complain when things are not right, but we
Yep.
don't compliment when things are well.
Ooh,
And
that's a good point.
and and I think that even as as entrepreneurs, as business owners, I think we do that even with ourselves. Like, we're always looking for what's wrong in our business, or what's not happening, or what's not taking place. So I think it's really important that we give ourselves, grace, right? And give our companies and stuff grace as well. So when there are examples of exemplary customer service, of people going above and beyond, that we let them know, right? That we Yelp it out, right? For lack of a better
Yeah.
word,
Yeah.
or do whatever it is to ensure that people are heard, and that they're seeing that what they're doing is actually appreciated. So
Yeah.
that actually brings me to my next question for you, David, because you're the guru of all things, customer, rockstar, everything, right? Rockstar
Yeah.
retention, rockstar customer service.
Yes.
And it's a really cool story. When I think about even how you came up with the concept of rock, why don't you share that real fast about how it became the Rockstar
Yeah.
customer service and where
Yeah.
that came from?
Absolutely.
I know a
I'm
little bit, but I want them to know.
I'm a musician as well. And,
Mhm.
I was fortunate enough to go on tour in Japan once, many years ago. And it was pretty cool. I was playing guitar, with a band, and for a singer, I put a band together for a singer, and she had a #1 album in Japan. And everywhere we went, getting on the plane and landing, we had the record company picking us up and going to the hotel, and we were really being treated like rock stars, right? I got to be a rock star for, I think it
Mhm.
was 10 days or something like that, right? And I was like, wow, that is pretty cool. And when I went back, I had an entertainment company and the restaurant at the time. I was like, wow, what would happen if we treated all of our customers like rock stars?
Hmm. Hmm.
What would that do? And what would that
Mm.
look like? Right. And so imagine now. So if you're watching, if you're not driving, close your eyes right? And imagine your favorite celebrity. It could be an athlete, it could be an entertainer, it could be a group that you like. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be rock music. It can be any kind of music that you enjoy. Who's that one person you would just love to meet? I mean, that's just your favorite person, right? Okay. So think of your favorite celebrity. Now imagine, you can open your eyes. Now imagine they came to your place of business today, came in, walked in the door, or maybe even called you on the phone, right? Or sent you that email, and this was your favorite celebrity. What would you do to serve that person? What would you say to them? What would you do for them? Right? And I've been doing this long enough. Most people say, I do anything. You know, once you pick your jaw up off the floor and wipe the drool from your mouth, right?
Right.
So you do anything for them. Now, let me ask you this. When was the last time you treated your customer like that? And said, I'll do anything for you. Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Huge.
So what we need to do is we need to shift our thinking and our perspective and start thinking about our customers as if they were that favorite. So what would I do for that person? Especially when they're complaining. That's when it gets the hardest, isn't it? When they're complaining or they're upset or they want a refund. Oh, we don't have a refund policy. All these different things, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting is once you shift that thinking, just the perspective, the solutions that you come up with for that customer are endless, right? It's boundless. There's no limit to that. And so I wrote that book, and it's been a lot of fun, you know, giving keynote speeches on it and training companies on those concepts, because I've really been able to see firsthand how it transforms those organizations. And of course, we tie metrics to it, right? So it might be number of customers, it might be revenue for that department, and every single time it's gone up. We have never failed. We've never failed. Rockstar customer service has never failed, to my knowledge. So, so it is a powerful concept, and you know, it's something that's been around forever, right? Treating people great, making them feel great. I use the word rock stars, but making them feel amazing is always good for your business. So
love it. Love it. But I thought it was really cool that people actually hear the genesis, right? The beginning of this story. And I'm gonna tell you this. So, you know, David's not going to toot his horn, so I'm gonna toot his horn for him. Once again, I told you this man has trained over 2 million businesses. Over 2 million. Yeah. And he's used this method and his book and his courses. He's a LinkedIn instructor. I believe you've had how many millions of views of your LinkedIn courses? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we have over 1 million students now just in the LinkedIn.
Over 1 million students in the LinkedIn community, which is one of the places that we're streaming on right now, right?
Yeah.
So how cool is that?
Shout out to LinkedIn. All my people out there.
Shout out to LinkedIn, right? The LinkedIn audience. But in addition to all of the things that you've done, you hit on a really good point, and that's a great segue to what I know everybody wanted to hear today. This whole concept of this great resignation. Now, I know, like, it's so funny. You and I were chatting. You've done some research on this, but I'm just going to throw it out there for those of you that may be unaware. What's happening right now is we're in the midst of what they're considering to be the Great Resignation. I'll give you just a quick fact or figure. 4.5 million individuals quit their jobs in November 2021. Did you catch that? 4.5 million individuals left their jobs. And for all of my employers out there looking at this on the LinkedIn world and other places and all this, you know, and all you business owners and all that kind of stuff, there's reasons why people are leaving, right? The pandemic did a lot of things to a lot of us that made us rethink. Guess what I talk about? Reflect, right? And refocus, right? And reinvent and realize what we want and what we don't want and all that kind of stuff. But because this Great Resignation ultimately is happening, there's a lot of impacts, especially from a customer service perspective. And we're going to get into it in a minute. David's going to share some things that he's learned about the Great Resignation, but then specifically for all of you employers that are out there trying to keep your people, there's certain things you can do to keep your people so they won't leave in the next wave of this resignation. But I'm just teasing y'all right now because we're going to get to that. But David, why don't you share some of the stuff that you've learned about this whole Great Resignation and what's happening right now?
Absolutely. So a few months ago, got a call from one of my clients that I do some leadership training for, and and she was in a panic. And I said, "Well, what's going on? What's happening?" She's like, "The Great Resignation is coming." And I hadn't heard of it at that point. And I said, "Well, the Great Resignation, that sounds pretty daunting. Like, what are we talking about?" And I started Googling it and looking at it. I was like, I don't know if this is really gonna come to fruition or not. But she wanted me to come in there and talk to people. They're a logistics company, worldwide, global company. And she said, "You know what? Just make sure that nobody leaves." I was like, okay, so I'll get in there, and I did very, inspirational, motivational session as much as I could. But really, we followed a few simple principles that really that need to be in place in a company right now. So if you are a business owner, or you're an executive, or you have a team of people, there's probably 3 different things that you really need to focus on and revisit, right? And just do a little tune up and make sure that they're there and they're ready to go, right? Especially if you want to retain the talent. So the first thing is, and we've talked about this a bunch over the years, is your company's mission, vision, and values. And it gets kind of trite after a while, right? Like, oh, what's your mission statement? Oh, what's your values? Something to put on the website that nobody ever sees again, right? that doesn't help anybody. You might maybe take a look at it and make sure that it resonates with your team. Have your team give input to what the vision is, right? And as I'm working with companies, especially some of the larger companies, if you get input from your people, now they've got buy-in to what they actually stand for, right? So, for example, if you say we stand for, delivering happiness, right? And that's Zappos, for example. When you call, they've got programs. All their programs are designed for customer service happiness, right? They have somebody named Mama who walks around the customer service floor. And let's say, you're going through a rough time, and your pet dies or something, your dog dies. She can fund, like say, hey, okay, you know what? We're going to send some flowers and a card and a bereavement card to that person, as well as the shoes, right? In fact, the shoes, that you buy from Zappos, they're an online shoe retailer. They sell a bunch of different things. You know what? They're going to get that, and it's on us. Or, hey, we're out of the shoes that you really want. Look, you're a nice person. We're going to send you the shoes, right? So they're living up to that vision and mission and values, right? It's all congruent. It's all together, right? And your team members see that. They're not stupid, right? We're both parents, Chris, right? We lead by example. You can't tell your kids one thing and then go do another thing because they're watching.
They're watching.
Right? So your team members are watching too. Your employees, your staff, everybody's watching. That's probably, the first thing. The second thing is, how do you communicate with each other? One of the biggest challenges I find with my clients is communication, right? Especially the bigger companies, they have silos, and they're looking at somebody in the other silo and, like, oh, marketing never gets us what we need to do our sales job the right way, right? And then customer service is like, the salespeople will say anything to make a sale, and then we've got to deal with all the pushback on the backside. Right? And how to communicate with each other has been such a big challenge. So what I introduced into some of my training is DISC and values. And I know DISC and values. We've been using that for years. And what it is, if you're not familiar, it's a personality assessment of strengths of an individual, weaknesses, how they like to communicate, what projects would be good for them, what projects would probably not be so great for them, right? So giving an organization those tools to communicate with each other, because once you understand somebody that you're working next to, right, that they're not out to get you, they're just different personality or different communication. You're all on the same team working for that vision that you guys have, right? And now this is the how do you do it? And that allows you to treat each other like rock stars, because I understand this person. Wow, I'm going to treat this person like a rock star. And then productivity goes up, right? Morale goes up, teamwork goes up. People start staying later. People start helping each other out, right? And then probably the third thing, and this is the toughest one for companies right now, is because the pandemic forced a lot of people to work remotely. Now, some people did great with that. Some people not so great with that, right? But the people who enjoyed it, they're spending more time with their kids, with their families, actually going to soccer practice, with their daughter afterwards, all this extra flexibility. And now companies are like, no, back in the office now, right? Whoa, 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 wait a minute. I'm starting to think about my balance of life and flexibility. So companies need to be more flexible and more open, because you can't put that genie back in the bottle, right? Remote work, somebody being able to have that freedom. A lot of people picked up and moved and traveled, different states, different countries, right? Different experiences, but they were still getting their work done and productive. So being flexible and forgetting about the way work used to be, right? Because benefits and acknowledgement, like you said, and money, and the LinkedIn did a survey of all their job seekers. The number one thing job seekers want is professional development. That's powerful. They want to learn more. They want upskills, right? So that they can get those promotions and really do fulfilling work that they believe in. So
love it.
those
Say
three
that one
things
more time,
we've been
David.
going around.
Wait. You just hit on something huge, and I'm not going to let you just gloss over it. And for individuals
I'm on a
like
rant
you
right
and
now.
me,
I don't have any notes or anything. So
right. So let's do that one more time. You just said the number one thing that employees are looking for is professional development. Now, let's be honest, David. You and I have been in this space, both almost 2 decades, et cetera.
yes.
And we've coached and we've trained and we've done all this other kind of stuff. And usually it comes to a point where professional development is seen as an option. It's just something extra. It's not a necessity. It's not like a specific thing that companies want to really put the muscle and the money behind. So for all of you corporate leaders out there right now, you got two of the best in front of you right now. You've got to work on professional development if you want to keep your people. Professional development, communication, leadership, management training, all these different customer service, all of these soft skills, which people generally take for granted, are the key to retaining your people and growing them so that way they can lead your organizations. So I'm sorry, David, I got on a tangent real quick. When you said it, it just set me off.
Well, that's it. I think this is what the conversation that needs to happen, right? Professional development, companies want to do as little as they can, and then because the fear is, right? So if you're an executive, look, I'm going to spend all this money into training the person, right? And then they're going to leave. Mm-hmm. And they're going to go somewhere else, right? That's this whole Great Resignation fear. But what if you don't train them and they stay? Or what if you don't train them and they do leave, right? So you've got to get past that fear. If you're an executive or a business owner or a CEO, you've got to get past that, and you have to start building a community, right? And start looking at your company like a community of people who have one common goal, right? Or several common goals, but they're on the same team, right? It's very simple. If you're a professional football player, what's your goal? You want to get to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Right? We're going to do whatever we can to get to the Super Bowl. What's the first thing we got to do? Well, we got to, do camp. We got to, come up with plays. We got to do practices. We got to practice these plays. We got to, get our mindset straight, right? We got to get to the games. Then we got to get to the playoffs. Then we got to win the playoffs. Then we got to get to the Super Bowl, right? When you have that level of clarity within your organization of where you're going and how you're going to get there and getting there as a team, the Great Resignation becomes a moot point for you. Like why would anybody want to leave, right? And I love this saying. I always say, treat your customers like you never want them to leave. I'm going to say that again.
Love it.
Treat your customers like you never want them to leave. And when it comes to the Great Resignation, you can take that quote and say, hey, treat your team members like you never want them to leave. Imagine how different your day would look if you did that. If you actually treated your team member like you didn't ever want them to leave. they're going to pick up on that energy. And nobody talks about feelings. Come on, it's 2022. Nobody talks about feelings. But you and I could talk about feelings just for a second. Think about how that team member is going to feel when you treat them like you never want them to leave. It's powerful. It's powerful. It's human nature. You know, I think sometimes we try to separate the corporate world from the human nature world. Somebody asked me, he said, hey, you know, is it weird doing so much corporate training now with such big names like, you know, like the LinkedIns and the Googles and the Harleys and the Oakleys. And to me, it's like, hey, these are people. They're people running within an organization. And I think the next step is to take that organization and start looking at it as a community. That's going to be a huge pivot and a huge shift. That's going to take away things like the great reshuffle. There's even euphemisms now for the Great Resignation. The Great Reshuffle.
The Great Reshuffle.
Doesn't sound as daunting, you know.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. David, you are dropping gems. You are dropping gems, not nuggets. That people say, you know, not even nuggets, boulders. You're dropping boulders today.
Let's drop them, man.
And I really want individuals to. I want to make sure that they really are hearing what you're saying. So once again, guys, if you want to keep your people, right? If you want to keep your people engaged, if you want to, it really comes down once again to having them reconnect and become congruent with your mission, your vision, your values. Number two, really learn how to effectively communicate with them, understand them, listen to them, create that, that synergy that can't be broken. And then number three, as David just mentioned, you've got to definitely make sure that you're giving, that you're being flexible with them. And as we said, maybe the fourth thing is make sure that you're investing in professional development of your employees. So that way they can be better and do better. Let's be honest, David, he'll tell you people aren't leaving just because of money. You know that, right? Oh, did I just confuse someone out there? People are not just leaving because of money, right? They're leaving because of these other things, because they don't feel valued, because they don't feel seen, because they don't feel they are part of the organization, because they don't feel aligned, because they don't feel like you care about them and what it's about. So, you are, my head is like poof right now with all of this great stuff. So let's flip the script a little bit then, David. So I know we talked about this from the corporate side, right? So what the company should be doing to retain their people. Now, let's talk to the people out there that may be in this great reshuffle, resignation, whatever it is. And let's talk about what advice would you give to individuals considering to make a move, right? A career move, maybe even go into entrepreneurship, whatever it is. What advice would you give to those individuals right now as we find ourselves in this never-ending pandemic in this really interesting, kind of crazy, kind of exciting, kind of scary place?
Absolutely. And the same way there's different types of customers, there's different types of job seekers right now, right? Mm-hmm. There's somebody who needs that job so they can just put food on the table, right? They've got to take care of their family. They got to do something, right? So their decision-making process is going to be faster and might be based on financial. But my advice in general, right, for if you're a casual job seeker, maybe you have a little money put away or something, or maybe you've already quit. Maybe you're already looking for your next opportunity. And, it's been a while since I've been in the corporate world, but I remember the fear of, oh my gosh, I just quit my corporate job. And I had a fax machine back then. I think I faxed out another 50 resumes because I'm like, what did you just do? But it was the same thing. I wasn't feeling heard, and mostly I wasn't fulfilled in that type of work that I was doing at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And I just didn't feel the fulfillment that I needed, because if you think about it, you spend more time at work than sometimes you spend outside of work, depending what kind of industry you're in, depending on what you're doing, right? So you really want to take a look at a few different things. You want to look at an organization and find out before you work there what their values are, what their mission is, what their vision is, and talk to people. Are they living up to what that vision is? Right? Is there room for improvement? Are they trying to improve before you make that decision? Right?
Right. Right.
I would say number two is make sure that your skills are as good as they need to be for whatever it is you're looking to do. So that might be upskilling, right? There's a huge
Mhm.
initiative with LinkedIn right now to help job seekers get those skills that they need, whether
Yeah.
it's through an online course or through a webinar or through live trainings or workshops. There's so many different resources that are out there right now to make sure that your skills are up to where they need to be. I was talking with other LinkedIn learning instructors yesterday. We were on a Zoom call together and we were talking about what are those things we need. And one of the gentlemen said, hey, you got to make sure your skills are there. When you go sit in front of that hiring manager, you got to be the expert. Are there things
Mhm.
that are changing in your industry that you need to be on top of, right? So make sure that your skills are there. And number three, choose work that's fulfilling to you. I know you
Uh-huh.
hear people talk about it, and most people, when they hear that, they go, oh, that's impossible. I've got bills to pay. I can't do the work that I really want to do. Well, first of all, ask yourself, what is the work you really want to do? Right? What is that work that's going to be fulfilling for you? That when you're spending 8 hours a day there, the 8 hours feels like 8 minutes,
Yeah.
right? I mean, people ask me like, what kind of advice would you give somebody to their career, when they're just starting out? If it was, 20, 30 years ago, I would tell myself, do something you love, David. Do something
Mm.
you love.
Mhm.
What I'm doing now, I love. And somebody asked me the other day, he said, hey, when do you want to retire? I'm like, retire from this? I don't ever want to retire. Right? I don't ever want to retire from being on stages and telling my stories and getting the feedback from the audience that, hey, something you said kind of resonated with me and helped me, right? Or getting those emails, I mean, that's where I get my fuel from, right? Is helping others and dedicating my life to helping others. So I don't ever want to retire. I love this. I could do an 8 hour talk and it feels like 8 minutes to me. I get into
Likewise, sir.
something you may have heard, like
Me
you and I
too.
talk about it,
Yeah.
Chris, getting
Yeah.
into flow,
Yeah.
right? Where
Yeah.
where time stops, it stands still. Like I'm here with you, and we're already 45 minutes in, and it feels
Yeah.
like it's been 45 seconds to
Right.
me.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so we get into these rhythms and these things that we love and find fulfillment, right?
Yeah.
And when you find the right company with the right skills for you
Mhm.
and fulfillment, you don't want to
Mm.
resign.
Mm.
You see, it's a very different thing. And the good news is we all don't want the same thing,
Right.
right? Somebody might look at what I do and say, "Oh, get on a stage in front of somebody, I'd rather die."
Right.
Right? I think that's how it all comes out, right?
Yeah.
But some people, like who love numbers and say, "Gosh, I just want to sit with numbers all day and look at spreadsheets. That's just heaven for me." Right?
Yeah.
That makes my stomach hurt just saying it,
Just thinking
thinking
about
about
it. Right.
it,
I'm with you. I understand.
So so the good news is there's so many different jobs out there and careers, and we need to be honest with ourselves. What's in alignment with us deep inside,
Right.
and that's what's going to give you that
Love it.
fulfillment, those skills, and then find aligning with that correct company.
Oh my gosh. Well, David, I know I want to be respectful of time. Like I said,
Yes.
I was going to be true to, making sure that we start and of course end on time. But this has been abso-freaking-lutely mind-blowing. Thank you
Bam!
so
We're
much.
dropping knowledge. We're dropping
Drop the mic,
gems.
right?
Gems.
um,
Boulders.
it's it's been incredible, and I'm so excited that you were able to share so many nuggets. Of course, they can watch the replay and all that kind of great stuff. But everything from the smile, right, to the eye contact, to the comment and compliment, through the three things that you said that these companies should be doing to retain their employees, and the three things that you also mentioned that individuals can do as they're in this, they find themselves in this reshuffle, in this rebounding of sort, as I would say, and this
Yes.
rebounding experience, I think, has been absolutely amazing. But I would be remiss if I did not allow you to say how these amazing individuals can keep in contact with you, You know, look at this great presentation. I'm appreciative of the gyms and even excited about the representation. Like,
Keith,
I
I
mean, this is
appreciate
so
you, man.
amazing, right? It's my man Keith
Yes.
out there in Vegas. And I'm just so excited that you were able to share this. And I would love to just give you an opportunity to share. How can people, reach out to you and really, learn more about what you do and maybe bring you to their company and all that great stuff?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just go to davidbrownlee.com. David, like my name, Brown, like the color, Lee, right? It's probably right there on your screen below, somewhere in there. But just go to davidbrownlee.com. I've got lots of free trainings up there for you. I've got access, of course, to my books, Rockstar Service, Rockstar Profits, Rockstar Customer Service. And my new book is going to be coming out in about a month. Customer service success. So I'm very excited about that. That's for my retail customers, retail clients. It's a book I wrote for if you're working in retail, if you have young employees, it's a book that speaks to them specifically. So super excited for that. But go to davidbrownlee.com, get those resources, reach out to me. And we've got a great team that will take excellent care of you.
Fantastic. Well, David, as you know, it is always a pleasure. I
Always
love you to the moon and back again a million times. Please give the family my love, all that kind of great stuff.
I will. You as well.
Exactly. And y'all give it up. Let's give David a round of applause, guys. Virtual. Woo, woo, woo. Throw it up. Throw it up. Throw it up.
I feel it. I feel it.
You can throw it up. You feel the energy. You feel it. Look,
I feel the energy, man.
I see him. I see him. Amazing. Look at these comments. Everybody is so excited about the information. This was an incredible experience. And like I said, I'm so grateful to have you with us. So I'm going to close this out. So David, thanks. Everybody wave to David. Bye, David. All that kind of great stuff.
All right, guys. Have a fantastic week.
Have an incredible week. So there you have it, guys. The first of many editions of Rebound with Chris Cooper. I am so elated, so excited to be with each and every one of you guys. Once again, stay linked in with us, chriscooperlive.com. And you'll get all the information. And of course, you follow us on all of the social media platforms, etc. And we're going to do some awesome and incredible things. I am so grateful once again for your love, for your support, and all that kind of stuff. For those of you that know me, I'm known as Mr. Get Shit Done. And I always say that we have to get shit done. Do you know why? Because breakthroughs are sexy. So have a super fantastic, most excellent, and incredible day. I look forward to seeing you next time. All right, it's the first of many. So look in your inboxes. We're going to do some awesome and incredible things moving forward. So thank you so much for being with us, and stay tuned for more exciting editions and episodes of Rebound with Chris Cooper. God bless, guys. Have a super fantastic week. Thank you.